What is going on, you guys? It's your boy Shimon Tyrone here, and we're back with episode 93 of the video game therapy series. It's before you say it, I know it's fell off the horse once again. Um, took about almost 3 weeks off, probably at this point, and trust me, I haven't really liked it either. But and that bitch is bucking. So hopefully I can get back on a regular cadence with these. I say it every time, but I should probably just stop saying it and start saying the real nothings that you come here to hear for whatever reason. Yeah, it feels weird even playing Minecraft. Like I said last time, I didn't quite have the bug in me to want to play that much. I don't know if it's just like a video games thing or it's something to do with. It's not specific to Minecraft, really. I think if any video game I would ever even be okay with playing, even if I didn't want to play, Minecraft would be the pass. But so things are bad if I don't even want to play Minecraft. So uh, yeah, I don't know. But back anyway, mostly just so I can rant about nothing. But yeah, let's see what's on my list here. It's been piling up quite a bit, so I should really start knocking some of these out. Yeah, so there was I don't know, the topic comes up sometimes just with people about like immortality and wanting to live forever. Well, so a lot of times it's in the context of like technology allowing us to live forever. Like if there's some medical breakthrough that like stops the halving of telomeres or whatever. Really, like there's so many like theoretical like we could live forever things, and it's just kind of this utopian idea. And obviously like kind of the philosopher's answer or the Stoics like why would you want to live forever? It's like part of what gives things their beauty is their transience or their like I said, if Michael Jackson were able to make 80 billion songs, how special would the ones he did make whatever. Michael Jackson's not the example here. That's not the point. The point is like the scarcity is part of what drives up value. It's kind of a market theory. I'm sure the economists would agree with me on that, but surely life doesn't function that much differently. I suppose at year 8,000 or something we'd be sick of it. But then there's kind of the other side that like is they almost take like just the opposite side just for sake of argument. Almost, it's like, well, I just want to die when I'm 80, or like when my knees stop working, or they pick some arbitrary date or some arbitrary amount of physical ability to have left before they'd want to die, which is again I also think is also kind of just as strange as um like wanting to live forever. And I realize this is gonna be such like an eye roll answer, um, at least. But who the fuck am I to say if I'm gonna live forever or if I die, whatever? It's like I think if all the effort I put towards like trying to live forever, to live longer, it's hilarious to me to watch these people. Maybe they make like $1 billion on some stupid dog app or something. Who even knows how people make money anymore? But they make a bunch of money. I don't know. And then they're like, okay, well, now I got to like spend the money and live forever. I guess I got to like milk out life and like see what life has to offer. I'm going to visit every country. It's like, you visiting places that's not like, is there a list that, God gave you about what you need to be doing? Or like, what do you really think this isn't like making you a better person if you visited every country? Besides just like walking around and be like, hey, yeah, I'm that motherfucker that has visited every country in the world and I guess wakes up in an ice bath to like preserve my perfect skin or something. It's like, fuck those people. I think it's like, I don't know what's the point in even doing that. I think it's at some point it's just like this cognitive dissonance where they feel like the smart thing to do if you're in that position would be to do whatever you can to live as long as possible. Like as if the world wants you around any longer. Like no, I think if you give somebody a gun in an alley, they would just shoot you because you're annoying. And no one wants you around, I guess, sucking up everyone else's time. So there's this, again, kind of two very polar sides to the argument of living forever versus like dying like a very natural, maybe even like, let's say even preventable death. Because I think that's what people like cite a lot of times. They're like, well, wouldn't you have rather not died of colon cancer, or would you rather have died like, not in pain? Again, but I'd argue the whole thing is like, it is not my decision. Like to think that I have supreme control over how and when and the amount of pain I'm in when I die. like I think me even like desiring to control that is emblematic of the problem. Like it's not that the problem isn't even me wanting to die or not wanting to die, you know, a natural or unnatural or a long or a short death. It's not like I wish to die tomorrow, but the point isn't to sit there and to conjure up ways in which you can control either living forever or, you know, dying not painfully. It's like ultimately it's not my choice. And I guess there's the spiritual part of me thinks that the universe has some hilariously ironic sense of humor to where if you people that you know that go through all the effort of trying to like save themselves pain would inevitably die the most painful way possible. Like they burn alive, like in the middle of a, I don't know, they'd find some absolutely horrendous way to die that no one would even wish, you know, or some like random serial killer will kill them and torture them, but like, you know, they spend their whole life avoiding pain. And it's not that I'm not wishing that upon people. I'm just thinking it's almost silly to like to just give a fuck, you know, to think is like not only thinking you can control whether or not you live forever, you know, based on your goofy technology, um, is already silly in its own right. But then also like the other side of it is like wanting to die at 40 or, you know, thinking you can choose and control when and where you die. I think is I think the underlying problem that I have that I have contention with. I just don't think it's a healthy view to think that you can control that. And it's not to say that you shouldn't like, you should seek out pain. I think that's the other argument that, you know, you'd hit with, well, do you want to die a painful death? It's like, well, no, it's not the saying I would like, I'm going to choose to, you know, pull my teeth out one at a time. But ultimately, if like there's the situation where that happens, it's not as, there's probably not much I can do about it, either before or after the fact, unless I can see the future, which I can't. So it just seems like a silly argument to expect. And I think it'd be really funny too if whoever invented this immortality or like whoever figures out how to stop aging and people can live twice as long, like while they're announcing it, just gets shot in the head or something like that. You know, or it's like their whole life is like, the only thing driving me is this curiosity of how to extend the human life and live forever, and then somebody just kills them, and it just, or they find it's some hilariously ironic way of death. It's not to say I'm making light of somebody dying at all. I don't think it's to be taken with such gravitas at some point. You just die. If it's like if the universe is trying to kill you, just let it. Okay, don't fight the powers of the universe. Like you're not it. That's the other thing. I think maybe it's just a technologist view. I think a lot of, like if you've made a couple $1 billion in the technology industry creating solutions to human problems, you know, as you see them, of course, it can be easy to trick yourself into thinking that like everything is causal, right? I even, this drove me, I watched like 5 minutes of it, but it was like an Elon Musk interview where he said that like his brain is just a like biological neural net. Like as if there was like, it was a solved equation. It's like, yeah, like, everything else about consciousness or unsolved mysteries of quantum mechanics and physics, no, that's all. It doesn't matter. Like really, it functions so close to a biological neural net. I'm so convinced that it pretty much is that, or I have no reason not to believe it. Therefore, like it is, right? Where it's like, it's not unforeseeable that there isn't some, perhaps again, post-quantum theory that can explain all of this, or if it's just literally just not ever explainable. If there's no amount, if it's an asymptotic phenomenon where we don't ever really figure it out or have an explanation for it. It's just that, but it's just, what a terrible way to live. to call yourself a biological neuron. The other thing that pissed me off is that this was within like the span of the 5 minutes that I watched. I couldn't really take much more without leaving a nasty comment and leaving. But he was like, well, death is just simply the loss of information. It's just the reduction of the human life, which again I take to be at least, I guess, maybe more recent years, maybe than I have at one point when I was younger, like to take such a like materialistic reductionist view of what a human life is, its value. It's like you're only as valuable as your constituent parts. And that's what I mean by reductionism or materialism. Even it's not that like it cares about money. That's not even part of it. Like I think reductionism might be a better word to use for like the problem with it is you're just reduced to your constituent parts. You're simply a meat wagon holding a biological neural net, right? With like, some basic motor control. And it's like reducing it and living like that, even if, sure, maybe in our view of science, that is the extent of which we can describe a human, right? That's like the extent of which that it's like an accurate statement. Like it's like, well, what's wrong with that? I mean, again, scientifically speaking, nothing. But I think the issue is we're applying a scientific view like in the absolute, right? To assume that there's nothing beyond just like, well, what we observe here is a meat sack holding a biological neural net, which I think is the funniest fucking three words in a long time. That's like perfectly encapsulates the reductionist attitude of at least him in that moment. Again, I don't know if what he truly believes on any kind of spiritual level. I almost would encourage him to do whatever that Rogan guy's ayahuasca or whatever, to maybe open his third eye or something, or at the very least just read like Emerson or something and have some kind of reverence for something beyond the overtly material and something that isn't, I can't. It's a whole Chesterton's fencing over here. So, well, I don't see how you can see I'm wrong. It's like, well, I can't say you're wrong in the sense of like, in order for me to say that you like to argue against you, I just sound like a religious zealot, like like quoting the gospel at a non-believer. It doesn't make any sense. Like clearly, you only ever believe in like what science tells you, but you fail to see that science is not a religion and is not meant to answer everything. In fact, it doesn't. It just seeks to kind of invalidate things. But it also doesn't mean that is, you have to just run with that the whole time. Like you have to, you can't only take things in a reductionist scientific view, because science, again, I've written about this, but it's kind of suicidal at some point. Science does not care if there's no emotion attached to science. That's part of the part of it. And I'm not saying emotions are like not inherently unscientific, because there is science with emotion, but it's very like blunt and objective, and it's almost like reading court documents of like something that happened like in an altercation that happened to maybe an extremely emotional time for somebody. But reading like the court transcript of it makes all like just pulls out any humanity away from it, and you're like, well, that wasn't really, it's like they tell a joke, but then they pull all the, they make a robot say it, or Siri telling a joke. It's like you're pulling you don't hit the punchline if you don't get to tell a joke that way. It's like, that's not how I said it. In the same way, like if you only apply like this scientific thinking, like, yes, technically it's like, I can't argue with the fact that we're just these meat sacks carrying around these biological neural nets. But at the same time, that's like, I'm sure if there's a God up there, but that's not what I mean. That's not what it's supposed to be. So there's not really a scientific way you can argue with it. So then people just go, well, can't argue with it, must be right. And it's like, well, I don't see a purpose for the fence. You can't have a logical argument against my fence. But I just point to the whole like foundation of logic or science as a whole and be like, this is not everything, right? this is just a framework. It's a tool in some sense. And sure, it's obviously not a comparable tool to like a hammer, but but it's like comparing like, I don't know, a Raspberry Pi to like a supercomputer. It's like, they're both tools, yes, but like one has exponentially, even like geometrically more power than, and it's more ability, but it's not to say that it's still not limited. Everything is limited, and humans inherently, yes, are kind of by definition very limited, but even that, so are the tools that we've designed and we've conjured up, including science. So it's not to say that of course science is not useless. That's not what I'm arguing. And of course, I'm not saying that it has like, we should stop being scientific about anything. We should just let artists, and we should all just run around and quote Shakespeare and these weird, and Carl Jung and all these other people that are pseudoscience. And that's not what I'm saying either. But I'm saying there's inherently, we have to recognize that there's no absolutes really, right? Including these tools we've designed all have their limits, and science being one of them. Science is not perfect. Science itself is not a perfect science. And also, it's performed by these crappy biological neural nets. Okay, so how good could it be really, right? Soon enough, I'm sure, computers will be insulting themselves, talking about these are just crappy transistors firing. It's like, what a archaic, old, crappy technology. But I would think clearly there's a lot we don't understand, and a lot of powers that could come out of the woodwork in terms of how consciousness or brains function. And again, could be things that, aren't for mere mortals to know. Like, why would God concern himself with like the affairs of man? It's like, motherfucker, he's a God. It's not like, I think it'd be a mistake to think that he is like just a biological neural net, it's like he obviously wouldn't allow, he'd have his own rules for doing stuff for he or she or whoever. Maybe it's a collection of things, or maybe it's just like kind of a spirit or a force or a property. Maybe it's not. I think humanizing it is part of the silly idea about like a god. It could just be like mechanistic properties that exist, again, transcendent of everything. That could be what God is. I don't know. But ultimately, it's not things that humans, again, we don't play God, and maybe we're not even meant to understand it. So it's not, I don't know. It's just recognizing the limitations, not only of humans, but of humans' inventions, even as us humans are unable to invalidate our own like inventions. Like, well, I don't see what's wrong with the description that a human is just a meat sack with a neural net in its head. It's like, yes, again, reading it in a courtroom doesn't sound like that, but that you're missing the punchline with that joke. So, Judge, he ruined it. It was funny when I said it. So I think it's just a mistake to just abandon humanity. For what, really? I think it's like, if everyone was really that excited about what a post-humanity world looked like, then fine. And again, excuse me for like wanting to look out for our own kind. Like, I'm sorry. I'll apologize when we wipe ourselves out, and it's like, well, we thought it'd be better if we. It's like, really, we didn't. Okay, well, I didn't think it. I'm sorry for standing up for my own race and thinking, or my own, not even race, just humankind as the race, or mankind, standing up for that as what is the hill I die on. Like, I'll happily die on the hill of protecting humanity over technology or progress in some sense. Because also vaguely defined, like progress of what? Up and to the right, up and to the right. And I don't know, maybe it's just we're forward thinkers. We kind of like doing that as biological neural nets. I mean, a new word for human. I'll just say biological neural net instead of instead of human. But I just thought it was so funny just to reduce it to that. Because I also think computationally, like if you consider the number of neurons and its connections, it even would be like far and away the largest supercomputer of all time. Now, obviously, we don't harness anywhere near that power, but like to think that it's just like, oh, we're just like these little crappy computers with a bunch of errors, and once we have enough compute, we'll be able to simulate it. It's like, not only that, like I think even if we ripped all the silicon we could find and found all the, like, I don't think we'd come close to like maybe a couple brains without like removing so much of what makes like a human brain a human brain. So it's instead just these kind of loose, crappy approximations that well, it seems useful, it's close enough, passes my Turing test. It's like, well, then that's not okay. You're an idiot. I have nothing else to say to you, unfortunately. So anyway, I'll move on to something else because I don't want to spend the whole time bashing on that. Let's see here. Oh yeah, I guess I'll bash on something else, of course, because that's kind of maybe that's just my MO today, is just in the insult comic mood or whatever. It's all gambling. Everything is just gambling now. There's not everything's a raffle, everything's a sweepstakes. There's all this play to win. It's literally everything. There's not anything that isn't just like some kind of gambling. Everything has microtransaction. There's this upcharge, and you gotta like, it's all just this marketed to shit gambling thing. Like even like just ads for like just benign, like, there's like healthcare ads. They're like, ooh, we'll give you 20% chance. Enter the raffle for like free dental. It's like, what? Can we quit this fucking gambling shit? Why is literally everything is fucking gambling? Like, I can't see one thing that isn't just some form of gambling. Like even like LinkedIn has made like jobs is just literally gambling. Like you have to just throw out 80,000 applications to stuff and kind of gamble and hope. And sure, you can like play the odds, and like there's some, you can go to the gas station on Tuesdays, in this random part of the state where they've won the lottery. It's like you can optimize it, sure, but it's still the same. It's a gamble. It's gambling. Literally, what is all it is. There's no real like. it's all just this like, oh, you got to get lucky and win, because that's part of what I even think like I even well, I'll get in the context of like very surface level materialistic shallow success is luck. Like fame is luck. I learned of that the Haktua girl or whatever, and I hate that I even have to fucking bring him up in that thing, because I don't like talking about pop culture, even though I somehow find an excuse to most of the time. But like, what do you mean predicting that, or predicting any of it, or like Mr. Beast? Even it's just some random fucking idiot who was. You think like it's like in every universe, everywhere, or every multiverse or whatever, like he always succeeds. Like there are so many people that are just as dumb or whatever. I don't even, again, that are no more spectacular than that, doing literally the same shit. And to think that like that, I mean, it was luck. It's luck, and that's fine. People can be lucky. Somebody has to be lucky, and you have to like play in some sense to be lucky. But it's literally just one big gambling thing now, right? Because I think even like, because it's no longer valuable to be the best. I don't know, the best accountant like in your county, the best accountant. No, you're gone. Who cares? Well, we'll have a remote accounting that'll do 5 times as many counties now. So you can't even being the best in your county is not even. You have to play a chance. You have to roll the dice to be the guy that represents the state or the country or whatever. And it's all just this raffle that just consolidates and abstracts away any kind of like merit based or even just not raffle gambling system. And I mean, especially every kind of ad, or it's just everything you see is just all just some variant on gambling. Really, there's not like an honest like, merit based stuff. I wish I had more examples, I suppose. But like the job market is a great example. Even like there was like just like oh, we want to download like the MLB app. Oh, we can enter a sweepstakes. It's like you either want to download the app to watch the games or you have the thing or not. What do you enter sweepstakes for? Like, what are we doing? Why is everything is a sweepstakes? Everything's got to have some prize or some lottery with. Can we just stop with this crap of like maybe I can win, or maybe I can maybe I can go viral? It's like quit it with this. This is just obnoxious. Everything be fucking gambling all the time. We're just making a whole generation of people that are just rolling the dice all the time. Waiting for the next big hit. It's like no wonder. And casinos are just kill it. There's the state I live in. They legalized. I think that for a long time they weren't allowed to advertise gambling. But I think they might have just legalized it just because maybe the state needs money or something like that. I don't know. But fucking DraftKings, literally fucking everywhere. You can't drive 5 minutes without like 40 DraftKings ads shoved down your fucking throat. And it's just annoying. Like you're just, because all it takes is somebody just gullible enough, just stupid enough, and just like down on their luck enough. Yeah, fuck it, I'll throw $5. Next thing you know, you've just ruined another life, and it doesn't even matter. Who cares? We're DraftKings up and to the right. And it's like literally, fuck you. We should not allow. You cannot. In my world, in the Buckets universe, you can't fucking advertise. You can't. There's no such thing as a gambling app. For God's sakes, it can't exist. Shouldn't exist. It's not. Oh, we could make this. Sure, I can make literally anything. That's not the fucking point. Should you? No. That's the thing with like technology. It's like, well, we can make this. I don't know, somebody with no legs and no eyes and whatever. Like we can make them be able to play chess. But in exchange, we have to know everyone's phone number. It's like, just don't then. Okay, it's like we don't have to. Just because we could do all this crap doesn't mean we should. So just no. I'm just gonna say no. We shouldn't do that. We could just draw lines and just say no. The other thing about saying no, which is kind of, hopefully it doesn't sound rapey in that sense because it's not meant in that context. But no one can really say like no anymore, right? Everything's got to be kind of layered behind this like softer language, kind of corporate lawyer speak of like, I mean, so the other day I was in a meeting for something, and people are presenting their things, and I've seen this at like conferences before where it's like, everybody does this. Oh, you guys all did such an amazing job. This is so great. This is just such a great. It's like, not really. No, can we just say like this was average? Most of you guys kind of sucked, and maybe most of you wasted your money too to pay to go to this dumbass conference. What? No, this is not amazing No, it's garbage. Okay, maybe it was like average at best. Out of the 10 people, maybe one of them was interesting, but like nobody can just be like, no, that kind of blew. Like you were ass. Like there's no such thing as like just a New York no anymore. You know, and this of course is my romanticization of like a New York no, but it's like, dude, no, the sandwich was shit. Get out. Like you should quit. You should close down this sub shop because you're bad. This is bad. You're horrible. There's no more of that. There's got like, no, it's it's pretty great. We tried. You know, the effort was good. It's like just say no. Say it was bad. Just say no. Like don't waterboard everyone through this. Like, well, it sounds great. It's like just say you suck and we don't. You're bad. Go home. Try again. Do something else. There's none of that anymore. They're like, otherwise it's like abuse, right? There's like no silver lining between like, hey man, I love you, but you suck. Like that kind of thing versus like abusive, toxic, mean. It's like, surely there's like something called tough love left, right? Where it's like, love you, but this was bad. Just, do it again. Try something, There's none of that anymore. Everything's got to be very, very like acceptable and everything's doing a great job. Not everyone's doing a great job. Like any kind of, any kind of like modern like tech job. Everyone's like, everyone's doing so great. And they lay off 40,000 people because they're not making any money. It's been tough. It's like clearly not everyone was doing a great job. If it was like, you just don't lie to people. Just say, just say nothing. We don't have to fill the void with these meaningless platitudes about how great a job everyone's doing. How fragile are people's egos? They can't just be like, dude, this was bad. I'm just not good at it. I don't know what to tell you. Which is fine. And it's something everyone has to be like the number one in the world, like the best. Everyone has to be the best, or like, oh, he's the number one. Like, what happened to me? Just like, he's pretty damn good, but like, worth the money kind of thing. Everything has to be like number one in the entire planet, the top number. It's like, why can't we just have like, good enough? He's worth the money. Sure, he's not like life changing, but it's good. We need like more of those. Not even like those kind of brands, because there's like, I think with products we still have that. There's surely not products that are like far and away like that are truly that amazing kind of life changing thing. But I think for like even people that market themselves, like no person will ever market themselves as like, I'm not the best, but like I'm kind of good enough at what I do to get the job done. It's like, you can't say that now. You have to say that you are literally nobody's better than you. You have all these fake credentials and no one else has. It's like, why can't you just be like, yeah, I can do it. Sure. It's like, I'll replace the plumbing, but it'll work, but it's not going to be, you probably could have had a better job done. There's nobody that advertises that way. And so I kind of just hate the whole kind of lowest common denominator kind of advertising now, right? That we're just advertising gambling stuff and everybody's just lying about how good they are at stuff. Everyone is the number one in the whole, like, I don't know. Every college is the number one college. It's like, all you guys are number 80,000. You guys all suck. It's all a waste of money. It's all a waste of time. It's stupid. You mean number one? Number one what? Number one, I guess the number one in advertising. Sure, that's probably the only one I would believe. If you were like best at advertising, probably, because advertising is just lying. It's just what's the most believable lie you could get away with. That's really it's essentially what most of modern advertising is. It's just how sly can I make this lie? It's fucking stupid. It pisses me off. So I guess while I'm complaining, because that is part of my shtick with all this. This is totally not anything in the abstract way. This is truly a first world problem. But I moved into a new location, and everything's great. It's got a lot more space than I've had before because I'm in a different city. But there's I guess it's like a water heater problem, like up in my roof. It's very deep in the roof. It's not anything I can get my hands on or even like triangulate besides just like putting my ear up to the ceiling and hearing this beep. But it's the funny part to me is really just is how perfectly annoying the tone and the cadence is really of this beeping that happens. So to give you an idea, the cadence is It can happen anywhere from like on 2 minute intervals to 5 minute to 10 minute intervals, and then for several hours at a time. But it's like imagine like air slowly being leaked out of some kind of tubing of some kind, but then the length and duration, I guess the length of time that there's this like loud annoying squeak is variable between probably like 2 seconds and like 2 minutes. And of course, again, it happens on these intervals of 5 minutes, 7 minutes, and then for several hours at a time. And there'll be hours or chunks of time where it's silent. Like I think it's silent right now, but when it isn't silent, it's on these like binges of beeping. Um, I don't think I could design a more annoying thing. Like it's almost like the Chinese water torture of sounds. Because it's not consistent. If it was like a tinnitus where it's like just always ringing, or if it was like, oh, between these hours, or like if you leave the water on, it'll do this. Like if there was some amount of, but it's completely random. The length also changes. If it was like a 2 second, like it was 2 seconds every time, that also would be less annoying. But it's not. It's variable. Change it. It's like I literally, if you had challenged me to design the most annoying sound possible that would drive a person crazy, I would probably get something close to this. In fact, I would be proud of myself if I designed a sound that was this annoying. And I guess that's my biggest. It's what's driving me nuts. I guess these days, beyond all the regular abstract stuff that I am annoyed with. This is again very not abstract, probably fixable problem, but I don't want to put a hole in the ceiling to figure out where it is, and supposed to have these meetings people take care of it, but clearly they're busy doing stuff, or I don't know, they want me to like call them when it's happening, but I'm like, it's like you're asking me to like call you when lightning strikes, and like, or before it does. It's like I don't know when this is going to happen. And of course, as soon as I call you, I bet if I'm hearing the beeps on those intervals, I'm like, okay, maybe it's like on one of these binges, and I'll hear it. So then I'll call. I guarantee you, I'll call them, and then literally as soon as I get here, like, well, I don't hear shit. You're just making this up. I'm like, I'm not making it up. I'm telling you, it's unbelievably annoying, and as soon as you leave, it'll start up again. But you know, and no, it'd be like the weirdest thing. It's not even like a consistent sound, or I can toggle it on and off. It's none of that. It's completely separate. But I don't even know why I needed to bring that up. It just, I guess, while I was complaining about stuff, it made sense to do that. I'm gonna go back on my ads rant because I just saw a thing on my list. I saw an ad for a hospital. Like, what are we doing? What do you mean? Who needs an ad for a hospital? Why are they advertising? How do they have money to advertise? Why wouldn't they have the money to make the care cheaper? Wouldn't that be like? And what am I going to break my leg and be like, what was that? What was that ad I saw? It's like, no, I don't. I'm not going to choose which hospital to go based off of an ad. What is the point of running an ad as a hospital? Like an emergency care, like I just fell off a cliff and broke both my legs. I'm gonna think about this ad. It's like, no, I'm just gonna go to the nearest hospital. Like, get me. I'm not gonna choose. Like, it's clearly like I would imagine that. Like, sure, there's some like implicitness to advertising. Like, it's not that you would go out and buy a Coca-Cola after you see a Coca-Cola ad, but it's more of like them kind of implicitly ingraining that familiarity with the Coca-Cola brand. You know, maybe like have it as a default or some kind. There's like, again, there's a lot of psychology with it. So I understand that part, but a hospital, really? You're going to imprint a particular, St. Paul's, medical hospital. You're going to try to imprint that into me so that when I am in a mode of sheer, like when I'm in pure pain and panic, I'm going to implicitly, think of St. Paul's medical, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why are we pulling out these giant banner ads on the highway for a fucking hospital? And then you go there with a broken leg, and it's like, oh yeah, here's $480,000 for like a cast that's made out of plastic that is going to give you mites or something. It's like it's a fucking ripoff. And speaking of a lottery, it literally is a lottery. It's like the whole insurance thing is organized crime. I don't even feel bad even saying that. It should be. Again, it's literally it's a crime. Like the whole insurance is this whole system of insurance, and insurance is literally just like gambling on your own life. And the actuary is like, again, a very fancy word for like a gambling expert, more or less. Sure, we say statistician, but the whole point of this is not, it's a statistician for money, which again is kind of just gambling. It's not that far away. Like if you're a statistician that only deals with like how to maximize value on money, again, how is that different than describing a gambler? Sure, maybe there's a lot less chance involved, but it's still entirely chance based. It's not like you're designing any kind of experiments. You're making gambling predictions. But instead of, putting it all on black, you're just, you're betting against Dave Jones. You think he's going to die. And so you're going to, give him this deal on whatever the fucking health insurance or something. It's just fucked up. It's like I don't know. It feels like we're just playing. We've taken this like reductionist idea and we're just all numbers now. There's no amount of importance. And sure, everyone speaks about how important it is to like love and be human. It's so important to really embrace that art. We all say that. It all sounds that. It comes out of everybody's mouth. No one will say anything different. No one is clearly saying that, no, we're all, I guess besides Elon is fucking idiot saying we're all biological, but no one's saying that we're all biological, but it's just the actions versus what is being said are just diametrically opposed. Everyone is very, humanity, yes, we're going to love humanity, progress in the future. But then like all the money is all tied up and is just fucking people over. Advertising hospitals and gambling apps. The fuck? Like what this is obviously it's obviously like, yes, I'm going to say whatever I need to say just to fuck you over. Like even that, if that means just saying exactly what you want to, I don't know. It seems so just disingenuous to me. And I don't care how much the world punishes me for just wanting to say what I want to say, even if I will die homeless and destitute and broke tomorrow. It's just not worth it. What's the point of just being a piece of shit your whole life? Like I don't know. I don't wish it like misery upon people that feel that way, but I don't necessarily feel bad for people that do all this. And then maybe they, after 50 years of just, I guess, abstracted layers away from just fucking people over or killing them more or less in some kind of tangential way, their hands are clean directly, but sure, their blood is spread across many people. We've abstracted the pain of the deaths of a few across them, so no one feels that bad. But then it's like, well, I've had such an unsatisfying life. Should I be surprised? Really? I'm not. I don't. You spend your whole life, kind of gaslighting yourself into this certain worldview just because it benefited you. And I think, I don't know if it's any evidence that I feel like I'm doing things kind of right, is that my worldview doesn't help me. It actually makes me worse. I'm not a good corporate. I'm not a good employee. I'm not really good at the whole kind of shtick of society. And it's because of simply because of my worldview and my refusal to just kind of put that aside for the sake of my own benefit. It's like you should get out of your own way. It's like, well, whose way am I really getting in if this is why? Like, it's not like I'm doing stuff for just no reason, or I want to be a nuisance or whatever, or like, oh, you need to grow up. It's like, I think you're a baby. I think you'll grow up. You're not going to grow. You're going to die as a child. You're going to fight. You're going to kick and scream like a little baby while you're 78 years old looking at you're going to be on one of your stupid apps, your gambling apps that, has your 401k or something. You're going to wonder why you've colon cancer, whatever. But like, you're going to die a child. You won't die with grace. You'll fight everything. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I have a lot of beef with a lot of the way that many people do their daily affairs. But again, I guess the other half of me is that it's not, people are free to do what they like and I'm free to disagree with them, but I'm also free to kind of put my opinion out there. So that's all this is really. I don't expect anyone to even take what I say and consider it or argue against it or say, well, you're hypocritical for one. Of course, that is humanity is hypocrites. We're walking machines we're walking neural nets of bias who do nothing but are hypocritical themselves, and that's fine. We say how much we love this, and then we do the exact opposite or whatever. Which again, it's not. I'm not saying I'm obviously just as guilty as anyone else. That's how I know these. That's how I know these of course relative truths. I won't call them absolute truths only because I'm not sure that such a thing really exists, or if it does, that we would be able to comprehend it. But um, even so, I'm not absolving myself of any of it. It's just it feels like we're moving in the wrong direction of authenticity if it's we're looking out for ourselves too much. But anyway, I'll move on to something else. Let's see. Yeah, I suppose one way to frame, I guess, my problematic worldview, I guess I'll put it that way, or and it's not even something I can summarize briefly. I think a lot of my worldview uh, is just crafting intuitions. And again, these intuitions are obviously like flawed. I don't have min-max functions for how I decide things, or a lot of it's intuition. It's like I don't do these because it feels scummy. Like I look at the ad for DraftKings and I go, that's scummy. And it's not like I can, numbers wise, I'm sure it works for them. I'm sure there are people that do, yeah, sure, they responsibly gamble, but again, my intuition, sure, flawed, yes, but intuition that is like scummy, bad. Like that's what that is. And the word I heard this word, I don't exactly remember where. I think it was about that. There was a video about a that MIT neurosurgeon that quit because he was like, well, the healthcare industry is all fucked. And I'm like, I don't know how'd you get through 10 years of school just to realize it's all fucked. You should have figured that out at some point earlier. I don't know how long you were drinking that Kool-Aid, but whatever. He said he suffered moral injuries, which I thought was I never heard it phrased like that, but I think it's a kind of an elegant way of putting that. Like it's, I guess as a child you have these not even naive, they're just like hopeful beliefs about humans, and hopeful beliefs about, and even it's just these damn Marvel movies that people watch where it's like, oh, well, no, we'll have the savior come through and we'll, good will reign. It's like, no, evil could win. Evil probably does win a lot of the times. Well, it pays to be good. Well, it could also not pay to be good, right? It could pay to be very evil. It's like people get what they deserve. No, people don't get what they deserve, really. It's kind of random. It is kind of maybe a gambling thing, but we shouldn't make it more gambling like. Like, I understand that people getting what they deserve is kind of a raffle in some sense. There's many people that never get what they deserve. There's some people that get the opposite of what they deserve. And that's like, why does that work? What the fuck? And there's no amount of like frustration that's going to fix any of it. But surely there's like, an ad for DraftKings. Is that making it better or worse? Right? I mean, is it crazy for me to say that an ad for DraftKings is probably moving us away from the direction of people getting what they deserve? Right? I feel like if there's anything of a absolute moral truth in the world, that would be probably pretty high on my list. It's like I don't know much of anything about anything at all. But again, to me, that feels like probably the safest, analysis I can make. Is that an ad for DraftKings is not making the world a better place for anyone. I don't even care. I don't know. I certainly I resonated in some sense with this poor MIT neurosurgeon that suffered moral injuries. The video is interesting. It was very rambling. I'm sure if you opened YouTube in a browser, which I did by mistake and was suckered in by the title because I'm a little gambling addict, of course, my little biological neural net. But the video is about like people getting back surgery. At least not the video itself, but a big chunk of his moral injury came from people that would get back surgeries oftentimes wouldn't really help them. They were just kind of trying to talk them into back surgeries. There was quotas that he had to hit, and there's only rare cases really where he even really needed back surgeries. A lot of times it's like you needed that lifestyle changes, right? And I even think like this is emblematic of industries as a whole. It's like people can use the valuation of industries to define like why they're valuable. So like let's just say the example of like the lifestyle guidance industry. So this is an industry of like people that give advice on how to live healthy, how to maybe even like how to get a girlfriend or something like that, or so we'll just say like healthy eating. Even we'll even cut it down even further. How big of an industry does this need to be? Like if the industry is even like in the tens of millions, way too big. I'm sure I know in in reality it's probably like $1 billion industry, but like it's ultimately simple. Like it's not like there's some complicated physics. Stop eating. That's like the whole diet. I mean, it's really not that. Start looking at labels. Don't and just quit eating. Like even if you're hungry, just you're thirsty, you're not hungry. Drink water and stop eating shit and stop being a fucking idiot. Like it's not like people don't know or like wow, I never knew that like you know. I mean, it's just I don't think it's a problem of like comprehend. I don't think it needs to be an industry where you're sucking people in to pay you for your advice when there's no advice. You just need to do it. There's not a matter of like a lack of people giving advice on how to live a healthy life or how to not be a shithead. Like there's even I got mad at somebody, my friends, for watching like a tidying up person, like their whole persona and their products and their whole shtick was that like like you need to like master the art of like tidying up and being clean or something like that. I've always been like a neat person. I organize things a lot. I take pride in having clean and somewhat organized things. There's not a like you have to find your own way of doing it. Like it's not like diet advice is almost stupid because like even like gym advice, the gym regimen that works is one that you'll do. That's it. There's not like you have to do push-ups, there's a hypertrophy. Shut up with all this. Whatever's going to get your ass in the fucking gym several times a week, consistently for years over, that is the program you need to be on. And obviously one that like isn't just doing nothing. Like if you go to the gym just to buy a smoothie, that doesn't count. But if whatever you find works for you, whatever is exercise you like, or whatever, again, whatever is going to get you into the gym is what works. I don't know what that is. It's probably not what some steroided out motherfuckers telling you that you're going to have to pay them $20 a month, for advice. And it's really just people just trying to find ways to rationalize, like incentivizing themselves to do something versus having any kind of, again, maybe even just an intuition about like, okay, maybe this is dumb. Like I'm kind of aiding in the creation of this giant industry that shouldn't really be an industry at all. I know that it is an industry, but should the diet advice industry be worth $20 billion? Really, diet advice? What is complicated about it? Like, I don't know how is it a complicated thing? It's like, I know there's nuances of like vitamins, but we're not talking about missing vitamins here. We're talking about people that are 300 pounds overweight. There's no vitamin that even, what are you talking about? That's not like, we're looking at these like super complicated edge cases to rationalize, like, again, what $20 billion of just stop eating shit, I mean, I don't know. It's just, it frustrates me that even like, sure, like I don't argue with the fact that there's lots of money here and there's like opportunity, yes, but like opportunity is like some opportunities should be left alone. All right, there's opportunities to sell drugs probably in your local area. Should you? No. And you're like, well, that's because it's drugs. There's things that aren't really that much worse than selling drugs. Selling people fake hope, isn't that kind of all drugs are anyway? Right? So if you're selling diet advice, which again boils down to kind of fake hope about, oh, you'll look like me. No, you won't. What are you going to be, a 6'3" Jack Norwegian guy? Like, no, you're never going to, it's not, I don't mean to like black pill people on, but there are limitations. Of course, I believe you can't, you're not designed to be on my 600-pound life, but not everyone is going to look like that. Like there's, but you're selling them fake hope. And I think drugs are just kind of a shortcut for that. So I even have more sympathy for the people who just like sell, heroin or something. And they're like, yeah, no, I know it kills people and I know exactly what I'm doing. I know this is very, very bad. I know I've probably killed dozens of people, but look, they're buying it off me. Sorry, money's got, but then like, I almost have more sympathy for that than like the health influencers. Like, well, no, I like give people hope to like, it's like, no, you're lying to them. Like by telling them that they'll do this or like one simple trick, like, oh, make broccoli in the morning and all of a sudden it's like, you're not one simple trick. You're fucking with these people because you'll milk them out of their money because they're kind of one step abstracted from the despair of someone's like, fuck it, I'll just do heroin. It's like, I don't think the person injecting heroin into their arm is like, oh, this seems like such a great idea. I think they're like, I don't give a fuck anymore. The despair is over. I'm done buying these fake solutions. The real solution is to overdose and die. And that's again, I kind of have it's not respect for it. It's like a nod towards the authenticity of it. There's no like cocaine dealer who's trying to tell you to convince you how ethical he's being in selling cocaine. It's everybody knows what they're getting into. It's not any kind of mess. And my argument is kind of that like an industry like a diet industry or like health fitness or something. It's not. It's like it's essentially a more advertiser friendly version of, again, kind of cocaine or whatever drug of pick whatever drug you're talking about. I don't know if there's any other real medical use for any of this stuff, or sure you can pick some rare disease where you have to snort coke to live or something, but that's not the point. I'm talking about for most people, there's no excuse ever to eat a Twinkie. So you don't need to be. Do you really need to pay $20 a month to a Norwegian guy to do that? No, it's just I don't know. Just don't do it. But anyway, I'll move on to something else. I don't know. Big on hating advertisers these days. Let's see. Anything? I guess this is another thing. This is totally unrelated, but it's on my list here. I've noticed with like little sparks of creative, I don't know, little sparks of creativity that I have. Like let's say I'm at, I get inspired to make like a meme of some kind, and maybe it's like a little more involved meme. It's maybe like 3 or 4 hours of work. I've noticed that like the spark I have to make that meme, I have to really kind of do it in one sitting. Cause like once like the inspiration almost has faded and it's just left to like do the work. If I split it up at all, it won't happen. Now the inspiration can fade like midway through and I can still finish because I've started, it's in one sitting. I can just do it. But I've noticed it on, again, these are a lot of times like much smaller creative projects. Doing them in one sitting, you have to do it. Even if it is like kind of a bender or a grind that day, it kind of needs to be done. Because there is like several times where I've had like these great ideas. Of course, they're great ideas for me, but in my head, they're great ideas for like memes and things. And I've started on them and then I'm like, well, I can split this up into 2 days and I'll like do the most of it again tomorrow or something like that. But then inspiration fades halfway through day one and I don't just like power through and finish. I like, oh, I'll split it up and do it later, but then I like never do it. But again, it's part of my own fucking fault for just not finishing a little project, and it's not that much. It's just a matter of doing it. But I think like it's, especially if you have that inspiration on like even on that same day, I would even argue that it's on like the day. You can't sleep until it's finished on that day. At least for some of the ideas and things that I had. But I don't know. There's nothing else to say on that. That's just observation that I had about doing and making creative things. But I'll use that word creative loosely a lot. I would just call them stupid things because they're very stupid memes. But anyway, I don't have a timer. I think that was probably my time, but I'll wrap it up and I'll hopefully be back on this horse regularly. But this she bucks, as Morty would say. But anyway, see you guys later. Peace out.